Chapter 1 Gen Taiku. The chirps and chimes of a near-sleeping warship flooded her ears as she crept on board. Like most ships of her class, the Replicade bore a striking resemblance to those used by Pila in the recent war her people waged, and lost, against the Greshian Empire. It was on a ship like this one that she watched her civilization crumble into stardust. A shaky, timid hand scrolled across the console on the bridge. The navigation monitor sprang to life, illuminating her face in pale blue light. "Where have you come from?" she whispered, despite being alone, choosing reverence to cover her crime. A three-dimensional map appeared after deliberate fingers commanded it to do so. Jen's eyes locked onto the string of dotted lines that depicted the course, and she held her breath as she realized the ship had made use of several keys to bring her to this sector. "What are you doing here?" More typing of commands wrought further questions, none of which appeared to have a simple explanation. The last year's worth of logs showed the ship's coordinates to be near the destruction of 3 worlds. Less unsettling was the log for porting in Farax. What would a warship be doing in Farax when the next port was Karanta? Unless, of course, it was smuggling under the radar of the Greshian authorities, or perhaps aiding it.
"Can I help you?"
Pilot asked, his booming voice on the small bridge causing Jen to turn, swinging her arms forward with her weapon leveled at the hatch leading into the bridge, but no one was there. "Show yourself," she snapped, backing closer to the aft bulkhead for more cover. "I swear I will shoot you dead to rights if you don't do as I say."
"I am the Replicade's artificial intelligence, and you are not a member of the crew. Perhaps I should be the one doing the shooting."
Jen's eyes darted from side to side as she tried to find the source of the voice. "If that's true, prove it." From the center of the bridge, a holographic image of a Luthian man appeared. He was older, gray at his temples and his skin dark in contrast. The best Jen could tell, the man was distinctly not military.
"Does this prove anything?"
Jen lowered her weapon, tucking it back into the holster beneath her tunic. "It's more convincing than I thought you would be. What shall I call you?"
"The crew calls me Pilot."
"Not very original."
"It is my default name."
"What is your mission? Why are you here?"
"That is not something I can discuss."
"Your crew is in danger, and I need any information I can to help me find them," Jen said, lowering her voice to sound empathetic.
"If that's true, why does our travel log draw such curiosity from you? I believe you are lying to sway me to answer your questions."
"I was hoping to find information in your logs to help me piece together your crew's initiative for being here. Perhaps narrow down a plan that would lead them here before they were seized by the authorities." Silence followed for a long moment.
"Which authorities?"
Pilot asked. Jen let out a sigh. "The Grecians?" In her mind, it was more a question than an answer, but she did her best to sell it.
"Yes, we've tried our best avoiding them. I did not detect a large Grecian presence on Pila, though. I find it odd the crew would be overcome when we've made it this far beyond the Grecian reach."
Jen paced the bridge, running her fingers along the smooth console as she familiarized herself with the controls. Princess Herma sits at a throne high above Dorit. She is the overseer of Pila, seizing control of Pila amid an attack to preserve our people. She is not her father, but she is wholeheartedly Grecian. The holographic expression depicted on Pilot's face turned solemn.
"If this is true, what shall become of my crew?"
"That depends on the decision they make," Jen replied. "I have it on good authority that Princess Herma will proposition your crew to mount an attack. The problem is that such an attack will break the treaty and kill the remaining Pilatians. Life is hard for the poor here on this world, but we can't allow such an act to take place.
Surely Princess Herma would not jeopardize her own safety when she is not protected by a fleet of warships.
The threat does not come from her, but her father. He has all but completely disowned her because he views her as a traitor to their people. It was at her mother's urging that Pila be saved. A long moment of silence followed.
How can we prevent this from happening and save my crew?
Jen fought back a smile. If your crew returns with a mission to fire on any Pilatian targets, don't expend a single piece of ordnance. Once the treaty is broken, Pila will be destroyed.
And how do you know this?
Pilate asked as the hatch to the bridge slammed closed. Jen turned abruptly, her eyes wide. When she looked back at the hologram, the image was larger, a grim expression on its face. I
would choose my words carefully if I were you.
I intercepted a transmission between Director Otero and Princess Herma, she spat.
So you're a spy.
The question felt like an accusation, rightfully so. In a way, I'm with the rebellion. We seek to overthrow Greshian influence over our world without drawing attention from the Emperor. If the Empire discovers us, we are done. Mine is a life-saving mission and nothing more.
Yet you come on board and try to deceive me with your tall tale, and expect me to defy my crew.
Jen swallowed hard. No, but I did want to explain the dire situation we are facing in hopes you will not act against my people if your crew decides to obey Herma's demands.
I see. Based on your scans, I believe you are telling the truth.
Jen sighed as Pilate spoke. Thank you. Now will you let me go?
No.
Pilate answered before the hologram disappeared, casting the bridge in darkness. You can't keep me here, Jen said, slapping her hands on the console where the hologram first appeared. You have to let me go, she continued with urgency in her voice. My people are expecting me to return. If I am not back by a certain time, they will come for me. 24 armed combatants will seize this ship to set me free. You don't want these men here, trust me.
That is a lie, Jen Taiku.
Taken aback, she stopped speaking and stared at the face looking back at her. If hologram eyes could stare through her soul, then Pilate was doing so now. But she refused to look away, to cower from her deception. Wait, how do you know my name? I never said who I was. She took a step closer, glowering expectantly, demanding an answer with her steely gaze. Silence filled the bridge, followed by a sudden drop in temperature and a smell. It took Jen a moment to realize what was happening, but by then it was too late. Her eyelids grew heavy and her balance waned. She reached out to brace herself on a console, lowering herself to her knees before she lost control, slamming her chin on the steel deck of the replicade. It took a few more seconds for her to pass out, but in the meantime, she heard footsteps. Whose? She was unsure, but neither did she have the energy to be concerned, as her consciousness escaped her, and potentially her life.